Hi angels, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is A Miracle, and in today's video I will be talking about how we as spiritual beings unconsciously manifest things into our experience that we don't prefer, or how we manifest experiences into our lives that we don't want to have. On this channel I will mostly be talking about manifestation. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. I have not been on here for a long time. I think I have not posted anything on this channel since 2018. Because I honestly lost my inspiration for posting on here, but recently it came back to me. The universe has been calling me to start posting again, so I came back on here. So in today's video I will be talking about how we as multidimensional beings, how we as spiritual beings unconsciously manifest things into our experience that we don't prefer or that we don't want to experience. Manifestation has been a big part of my life for the past 6 years. I've gone through multiple spiritual awakenings and I've learned a lot on my spiritual journey. So I have chosen to start this channel so that I can give back to the universe and help other people understand different things about their spiritual journey and how they can manifest their way to their dream life and such. So today I will be talking about how we unconsciously manifest things that we don't want. So I've come to understand over the years and all of the different trials and tribulations that I've experienced through my own personal spiritual journey that we tend to manifest things that we don't like, because that is what we habitually think about on a continuous basis. So I want to first introduce the idea to you that we create our own reality. I believe that we as spiritual beings, we are the creators of our reality. I believe that everything about our life, everything about our situations and our circumstances, we played an active role in creating with our conscious imagination. So I believe that what we think about on a continuous basis is what externally manifests into reality. So I just want to give y'all my story. Some of y'all might be able to relate to the story that I come on here and tell, or you might know of friends or family members that have been through situations where it was obvious, might not have been so obvious to them, but it was obvious to you that they created these circumstances on their own by continuously thinking about these things. So I just want to share a story with y'all of something that is currently happening to me now and recently happened to me within the last year. So I have had multiple examples in my life where I have experienced things that I unconsciously manifested by mistake, but didn't realize it until the manifestation had already materialized. So first, I'm currently in my second apartment right now. I moved into my first apartment in March of 2024. So in March of 2024, I moved out on my own, got thrown into adulthood at 18 years old, moved into my first apartment at 18 years old. And this apartment was a downstairs unit in an apartment complex where I currently live. And I noticed that when I moved into that apartment, and y'all might know exactly what I'm talking about. If you follow me on Instagram and you watch my Instagram story consistently, you already know exactly what I'm talking about before I even have to say anything. So when I moved into this apartment, I was dealing with so much noise. I was living in a unit that was below my neighbors. So I had just only one person that was living above me in the upstairs unit to that apartment complex. And I noticed on my third day of moving into the apartment, I noticed there was a lot of noise going on. There was a lot of stomping, a lot of banging, a lot of throwing stuff. It was a lot going on in that apartment. I noticed that. And I thought maybe it just was my imagination. Thought maybe I really just was going crazy, or I thought maybe this is my first apartment that I've been living in on my own, that I moved in on my own. Or this is my first time being completely alone in life. I've always lived with my family members. This is my first time being in a situation where every day, single day, I'm going to work, coming home alone every day. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just crazy, maybe I'm just nervous, or maybe I'm just on edge or anxious about the fact that this is my first time having to live alone. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a little time and see how everything goes. And I noticed that gradually over time, the noise just continued to get worse and worse, to the point where it was affecting my mental health because I could not sleep. It was affecting my physical health because I could not sleep. And I was going to the management, telling them about what was going on. I even tried to talk to the girl personally. I tried to do everything that I could to reconcile with the situation and come to a mutual agreement between me and the other tenant that was living above me, so that we can make each other's experience easier for each other. Now, I already knew that I wasn't renewing my lease in this place. I already knew that once my year was up, I was leaving, but I just wanted to get through my 1-year lease and just come to agreement with that person so that we could basically just get along until it was time for me to move the following year in March. Unfortunately, that did not happen. it got to a point where the situation basically just escalated, and we ended up getting into this whole back and forth neighbor feud type of thing that was going on. I was calling the police on her every other day. She was calling the police on me. She was telling management on me. I was telling management on her. It was just this whole petty back and forth type of thing going on that just was not getting better. It just was continuously getting worse and worse by the week. And inevitably, I just decided that, you know what, it's just best for me to move, go somewhere else, find me a different apartment where I can find some peace at. Now, mind you, I was very stressed out during this entire time. I was very worried during this entire time. I was having a lot of fear-based beliefs during this time because that first apartment that I lived in, my rent was good. I will admit that. My rent was low. It was very affordable. And so while I wanted to move out of that apartment and I really wanted to get away from that situation, I had a lot of limiting beliefs surrounding me leaving that apartment. And what I mean is, I had a lot of fear built up at the back of my mind. If I leave this apartment, am I going to continue to experience the same thing if I move somewhere else? Or if I choose to move somewhere else, will I have the financial stability to support myself in a different apartment where my rent is higher? Because I had a very cushy rent. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not going to say it right now what it was, but I had a very cushy rent that most people would literally dream of having. And that made me not want to leave the apartment because my rent was so good and it was so affordable in comparison to my income that it was making me want to become complacent and not leave. But as somebody that has been on this spiritual path for a long time, I understand that staying in the same place and being complacent in different situations in your life is never good. And I understand that my time there was up. I intuitively felt like I needed to leave. So I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter what comes out of my situation or what lies ahead. I got to get out of this apartment. That's all I knew. So basically, I devised a plan to move out of there. I started saving up money. I found a new apartment. But during this whole while, I regret that I didn't have my mind in the right place. I regret that my imagination wasn't in the right place. My intentions were pure. All I wanted was positivity and light for me and positivity and light for the other tenant that was in the situation. I didn't mean that person no harm or wasn't wishing that the negative to nobody. I just wanted everybody to have peace and comfort out of the situation. But I was thinking about the situation in a very negative sense. All I could think about was, dang, I can't get no sleep at nighttime. Dang, now wherever I move to now, my rent is going to be even higher and I'm going to have less wiggle room in my income. Dang, I don't want to have to up and move and I've barely been here for a year. I don't want to have to break my lease and I'm so tired of listening to all this noise. This is a dilemma of all the different negative thoughts that was going through my head during this time. And unfortunately, those thoughts manifested. Well, I projected those negative thoughts into my future and they re-manifested in my life in the second apartment, which I am currently in right now. So when I first moved in here, I noticed the same thing that I noticed in the first apartment. But it took me until about the third night of living in the first apartment to realize that the noise was there, to really acknowledge the noise. But on my very first night of moving into this apartment, I noticed the noise. And I remember the first night that I slept in this apartment, I literally cried. I literally cried so hard before I went to work the next day because I already knew what this was. I already knew that I had projected my negative beliefs into my future and I had sat there and manifested something into my life that I did not prefer based off of my old way of thinking and the way that I was thinking when I was in that old apartment. Because of the way I was thinking about the negative thoughts that I was having about the person that was living above me and all of the noise that I was experiencing in that apartment, I turned around and manifested the exact same thing when I moved into this apartment that I'm currently in right now, which is the second apartment. And I'm just making this video as a video of awareness and to help other people understand how manifestation works, because a lot of people come on here and they try to make it seem like, oh, manifestation is all good and unicorns and rainbows, and it really is. Manifestation really is a wonderful thing. It really is a blessing to be able to experience the manifestation of the things that we want, to go throughout the journey, to live out the journey of manifesting these things into existence that we want. That new house, that new car, that new career, that new job. It really is a good thing to manifest these things into our lives. But manifestation works in every sense of the word is the goal that I'm trying to get at here, that a lot of people don't understand. Manifestation works whether we want it to or not. Manifestation works in situations that we don't prefer. Manifestation works in situations that we do prefer. Manifestation never stops working whether we're consciously aware of what we're manifesting or not. It doesn't stop manifestation. And so in this instance, with me sitting here thinking all of these negative thoughts about that apartment and I had this negative belief in my heart somewhere that I just felt like That would be my experience everywhere, literally, and I'm admitting that to myself. I felt like because that's what I was going through in that first apartment, I felt like in any apartment that I moved into, that is what I would continue to experience. And so guess what? That is what I manifested. I'm not proud of it, but I'm aware of it. And the first step to changing or uncreating our manifestations is becoming aware of the fact that we did it. Not blaming it on anybody else, not blaming it on any external circumstances, not blaming it on the universe. I did this. I created another situation where I put myself in a position that I didn't want to be in. I created another situation in which I made myself uncomfortable. I created a situation in which I, again, cannot have peace or quiet in my own environment. I created that for myself. And I just want to help other people realize that make sure that your thoughts are in the right place. Make sure that you're thinking positive thoughts. When you think thoughts of abundance, thoughts of positivity, thoughts of growth, thoughts of increase, that is what will manifest into your life. And vice versa, if you're thinking thoughts of negativity, thoughts of hatred, thoughts of harming anyone else, or just having negative reoccurring thoughts in your head about something that you don't prefer, rather than choosing to place your mind on what you do prefer and being optimistic and hopeful for a future in which you don't have to deal with that circumstance. Just choose to think from things from a positive perspective. Choose to think from things from a positive perspective in which that's not negative. Literally, because manifestation works in every sense of the word. But I know that nothing good will come out of my situation. I genuinely believe that the universe is overall very positive. I believe that the universe is very supportive, and I believe that it all happened for a reason, for me to become aware and learn a lesson of what I was doing and how I was unconsciously creating negative things in my life. And that's not the first situation in my life where I feel as though I have created something negative in my life that did not belong or that I did not prefer. It's been so many different situations that I have manifested things that just are bad. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say bad, but situations that helped me to understand that it was my conscious beliefs about the situation that created it. So I just want to come on here and say that just change your perspective. When you change your perspective, everything that you look at changes. When you change everything that you see changes. So if you're through a situation right now where you feel like you can't get out of it, you're going through a situation right now where you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, you don't know how you're going to get out of the situation. A lot of times, from our perspective, when we're going through something that we don't want to have to go through, we're going through something that we don't want to deal with, from our perspective, it seems as though this situation is literally impossible. It seems as though we would never get out of this. It seems as though we will always be going through what we're going through right now. It's not true. As long as you continue to keep your thoughts in a positive place, and as long as you continue to trust in the source, the higher power, God, the universe, whatever you choose to, however you choose to identify it, as long as you continue to trust in your higher self, trust in the universe, and trust in the path of your life itself, everything will work itself out in a positive manner. You just have to believe that it will. As long as you believe, and your belief is that your situation, whatever it may be, as long as you believe that your situation will work out in a positive sense, for the highest good of you and everybody involved, then it'll work out that way. But if you choose to believe that, you're just going to keep dealing with the same thing that you've been dealing with, or you'll never get past the situation, you'll never get out of the situation, inevitably that is what you will manifest into your life, even if you're not trying to. The law of attraction works for everybody. The law of attraction works whether we want it to or not. It doesn't stop working just because you wanted to pause or you wanted to wait. The law of manifestation works for everybody, and it works at all times, whether we're aware of it or not. So my tip of advice to anybody watching this video is, from today forward, try to look at your situation from a more positive light. Try to look at your situation as not just a means to an end, but see it as necessary to the journey of your life itself, and embrace whatever situation that you may be going through, and feel as though it is necessary in your journey for you to get to wherever you're going, wherever you've been wanting to be, whatever dream life you've been trying to manifest, whatever lifestyle you've been trying to live. See your situation as necessary to the process of it all, and just understand that it's gonna all work itself out. So that's it. That is my advice for today's video. Just keep your head positive, keep your mindset in a positive. Make sure that it's always positive thoughts flowing through your mind, positive thoughts flowing through your subconsciousness, because Manifestation is going to continue to work whether you want it to or not, but it's up to you to choose whether it's going to be positive manifestations reoccurring in your life or whether it's going to be negative manifestations in your life of things that you don't want. So you're going to continue to manifest whether you're consciously aware of it or not on a daily basis. So you might as well think positive thoughts so that you can experience positive things. So that is my advice for this video. If you like talking about these type of things or you like getting these type of spiritual tips, make sure that you go ahead and follow my channel, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. But that is it for today's video, and I will see y'all in the next one.